So now we're at the stage where we want to be able to actually do some damage to our enemy here. So we've already set up our lasers here with box colliders. So let's do the same for a couple of the other elements that we're wanting to use. So for, say, the top laser guy up here, we're going to add a box collider to this one. So a box collider 2D. And we're going to shrink this down because we only really want it to be generally around this little red area here. So we're going to shrink it down and then offset it up a little bit. So that kind of general area is perfectly fine. And we're going to do the same for the other one down here. We're going to add a box collider 2D. I did add a 2D one to the other one. Yes, I did. We're going to do the same thing. So we'll add a box collider 2D. We'll shrink it down and move it down to there. We'll make that a tiny bit bigger. There we go. That'll do. So those are our two outside pieces that we need to hit. And then we have the main body here that we're going to add another one to. So on the boss, we're going to add another box collider 2D. Obviously, we don't want it to be this huge, massive size. We want to shrink it down quite a lot to be just this kind of rough area here, and then just this rough area here. One other thing we want to do is make sure that, once again, none of our lasers or anything like that can interact with itself. So we're going to highlight all the elements of our boss here, and we're going to add the enemy layer to it. And then on our two lasers over here, we want to make sure that they're on the enemy layer as well. They are, of course, because they were copied from our previous lasers. So that's fine. So now they won't interact with themselves. But there's one other issue now, which is that if we shoot our lasers at this enemy, at the moment, they're not impacting on him at all. So even though those are all box colliders and they're all, none of them are triggers, apart from our lasers here, of course. But if I shoot away at them, they're not impacting with the boss at all. And this is because of how the physics system works with Unity, and more specifically how the on-trigger enter works in Unity. So we have our shots, our player laser here. It's a box collider and it's a trigger, and we have that moving through the air and impacting with something else. But the only way in Unity that a trigger can be detected as entering into something is if either the trigger itself, so the object that is a trigger, which is our laser, has a rigid body attached to it, or if the other object that it's hitting into has a rigid body attached to that. Now, we haven't used rigid bodies on our lasers because we wanted to keep it nice and simple. We were firing a whole load of these. We didn't really want to worry them with physics. So instead, what we're going to have to do is with these individual elements of our boss battle, so these 5 pieces here that have colliders attached to them, we're just going to add a rigid body to them. So a rigid body 2D, and we're going to set it so that it can't rotate and that the gravity scale is 0. So we're not worried about it moving around on us in the world or anything like that. It'll just be frozen in place. So that's perfectly fine. That's what we wanted to do. Now we can demonstrate that by going back into the game here and pressing play, and we wait for it to come onto the screen. And what should happen now is, there we go, our bullets now are hitting against our collider. At the moment they're causing it. I think I might have given them the tag enemy, which I should turn back off again. But we don't really want power-ups to be dropping out of our enemy boss, really. That's not very punishing for our players. Let me just go and correct that before I do anything else. There we go. This one has the tag enemy. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so now we have all our colliders set up. That's perfectly fine. That's what we want them to do. So the next thing we want to do is make it so that we can actually do some damage to these different parts. And the way we're going to do that is setting up a very simple health system into our boss battle. So let's go into our boss battle. We're obviously talking about shooting the top laser and the bottom laser pieces. So on them, we're going to create a reference to them, to those individual objects. So what we're going to say is, we'll call them. What do we call them? We'll call them just public game object. Nice and simple. Top laser hand, we'll say. So we're not specifically talking about the lasers themselves. And public game object bottom laser hand. Okay, so we're talking about the two of them. So what we want to do then is have them have individual amounts of health. So we'll say public int top hand health and public int bottom hand health, like that. So that's our two individual elements of health on our boss robot. So we have those two things, so let's make sure that we can do damage to them using our bullets. So let's go over to our bullet controller. We're going to add a new tag for the boss himself. So we're going to say if other.tag equals, actually no, we won't add a tag just for the boss. We're going to add a specific tag for each individual laser. So basically what we're going to say is, and this is something that could be reused for other bosses, so say for example you had different bosses with different lasers and stuff like that, you would just reuse the same tags on them. But we're going to have, if the other tag is boss laser top, say, if that's the case, well then we want to do damage to our boss's top laser hand. So what we'll do is we'll find object of type boss1. So we're finding the boss1 battle, and we're going to say, okay, take the top hand health and take away 1 from it. So top hand health minus equals 1. Nice and simple. That's all we wanted to do. So we're going to do the same for the lower hand as well. We're going to say if other.tag equals boss hand bottom. Well, in that case, do the exact same thing. We're going to find the find object of type boss1 and take the bottom hand health and take away 1 from it. Okay, perfect. So we have that going. So let's go back into our boss1 script. And so when we're in phase 2, we're going to add a couple of simple little checks in here to say, basically, if the health for any particular hand runs out, then we deactivate it. So we'll just say if our top laser hand, no, sorry, that's the wrong one. Our top hand health is less than or equal to 0. Well, in that case, our top hand is being destroyed, so we're going to deactivate that laser. So we're going to say top laser hand dot set active is false, and we're going to do the same for our bottom laser hand. So we're going to say if bottom hand health is less than or equal to 0, well then in that case we want to set our bottom laser hand to be inactive as well. So that's all perfectly fine. One other thing we can do while we're doing this, we might as well make it a little more interesting, and we could make an explosion appear when our hand gets destroyed. So let's go up here and we'll create a reference to our explosion that we've used in the past before. So public game object explosion, and we'll scroll back down, and before we deactivate the hand, we'll just instantiate an explosion, and the position we'll instantiate it in is where the top laser hand currently is. So top laser hand dot transform dot position, and the top laser hand, oh no, not top position, the top laser hand dot transform dot rotation, like that. So we'll get a cool explosion going on. So we'll do the exact same thing when our bottom hand gets destroyed too. We'll set off an explosion, but instead of being at top, we'll set it at bottom, and here instead of top, we'll also say bottom. Okay, so we're making both of our healths be destroyed. So let's go in here, wait for it to compile, and we're going to hook up all that stuff we just did. So we'll go to our boss battle. We've got our top laser hand, so let's move that into position. That should be this one, isn't it? Yeah. So our top laser hand into there, our bottom one into there. We're going to give both of them a health of 3 for the moment. You'll probably want to make it a bit harder in the final game, but for testing that's perfectly fine. And we'll drop our explosion into that position there as well. Okay, so we've got all of that set up. The next thing we need to do is assign tags to each one of these. So our top hand, we're going to create that tag that we wanted to use, which was make sure we spell it the exact same. So we'll go into our bullet controller, boss laser top. So we'll add boss laser top, and we'll also add boss laser bottom. So let's just double check that they're both spelled right before we go any further. Perfect, they both are. So now what we can do is go back into the game, and it should be that all of that stuff will now be working properly for us. So we can press play again, wait for him to come in, fire away, and keep an eye on the health in the bottom corner now. I'm going to try and avoid dying, but probably won't do so well. We're not taking any health away from our boss, so something's going wrong. So we'll have to take a quick look at that. Oh, of course, I just realized we never applied the tags to these two guys here. We created the tags, we never applied them. So, boss laser top and boss laser bottom. Okay, we'll go again, and I'm going to switch back to the boss battle so we can keep track of the health of them. Down here. So then down here, I'm going to shoot away. And we're still not working. Why isn't that working now? Just popping back into our bullet controller script. Of course, I typed in the wrong thing here. I don't know why when we specifically checked the right tag, I didn't notice that I had written boss hand instead of boss laser. So, third time is the charm. We should have it all worked out now. And these kind of errors are the little things you want to always recognize and be able to deal with in your game. So, when you have errors in your game and things aren't working the way you expect them, most of the time it's due to human error. So I'm going to shoot these pieces. Oh, we couldn't see our health. Where's our boss battle script? There we go. So our health isn't going down. No, sorry, the enemy health is going down now, but there was something weird happening. I don't know why I'm getting this error. There you go. Okay, well, we've got our instantiate happening over and over again. That's not very good. There will be a fix for that in a second, but we can see at least that our various parts are being destroyed. It kind of looks a little bit cool that our explosions are going off like that the whole time, but that's not really what we want to happen. I'm going to go back into our script. I just set up a simple little debug to catch what was going on, so I'm going to delete that. So our health is now actually working for us just fine, but as we saw, once it explodes, it just kept on exploding. And the reason for that is, well, once our health goes below 0, it's permanently below 0, so we'll keep instantiating it. So instead of leaving it at that, what we're going to do is say, once our health goes below 0 the first time, we deactivate the object, instantiate our explosion, and then set our health to be a really high number. So we'll just say top hand health equals 999. 9999. There we go. Yeah. And we'll do the same for our bottom hand. We'll set that to be equal to 9999 as well. And then what we'll do is, to move on from phase 2, because we know that's all working for us now, what we'll do is at the end here, we'll add a new check to say if our top hand health is equal to 9999. Oh, that should be equals equals. So if our top hand health equals 999 and our bottom hand health also equals 9999, that means both of our hands have been destroyed, so we should stop phase 2. So phase 2 equals false, like that, and phase 3 equals true. So we've now completed our work in phase 2, and we can move on to phase 3.